everyone, welcome to the Big 5 personality lesson. In Big 5 personality lesson, we will talk about what is ocean, where O stands for your openness, C stands for your conscientious, E stands for your extrovert, A stands for your agreeable, and N stands for neuroteasing. When we start these lessons, it will be good that if you spend about 5 to 10 minutes to do this personality test, which is relevant to your Big 5 personality. So after you finish the test, you will see something like this. In Big 5, you will see that your 5 different trails have different type of scoring, and they will give you different type of range, like low, medium, or high. So you can see that what type of trail you have. So for this case, you can see that this person, he have very low openness. So when we have very low openness, he's very traditional, very down to earth people. So he use traditional way of doing problem solving. So what does this ocean stand for? So for openness is where people like to learn new things. They experience new things and enjoy doing them. For people who have a lower score, they are much less insightful and imaginative compared to the person who have high score. How about conscientious person? They have this reliability. They are very careful in their work. They are normally organized and they have a methodologies, having their own process. They are very throughout in their work as well. Extraversion, or we call it extrovert. They get their energy from interacting with people, while introverts get their energy from themselves. So if you see extroverts, they are very energetic, they like to talk a lot, and some of them very assertive. So when they are talk, they just talk all the way without giving you a chance. For the next one, A, which is agreeable. So these people are very agree to the topic. So they are normally very friendly, they are very cooperative, compassionate. However, if you look at people who are less agreeable, they will try to be distant away. So for people who have agreeable, they are kind, they are very affectionate, and they are very sympathetic with people. So they are actually quite people orientated. So for neuroticism, it's also sometimes we call it as an emotional stability. It relates to one, emotional stability, and the degree of negative emotions that people have. So people who have high score on this often experience emotional instability and negative emotion. So they will become very moody and very tense. So people will have high neuroticism, they are very anxiety, very nervous at times, compared to someone who has low neuroticism. Okay, first we talk about the first ocean, O, openness. So when you have openness, if you got a high score, means that you are imaginative, you are open-minded, you care to experiments, and you prefer creative problem solving. However, if you are low score, you are very traditional, conventional way of doing things, very down to earth, don't like to take risks, very practical person. So if you look at this graph over here, you can see from the low intellectual to the high, where we have adventure, liberalism, imaginations. And for medium people, you are artistic interest and emotional. So having a different type of openness, these are the different type of traits you will have. Next, we go to the characteristic of people who are openness and what type of career will they eventually go into. So first thing we talk about individual with high level of openness. So they have unusual ideas and art. They are normally imaginative and they are very creative. They come up with new and different ideas. They keep in touch with their feelings. So individuals who score lower in this area are generally more closed off. They don't like to change, and they are very analytical. So do you have friends who actually is in this low openness, because I have a few who really don't want to change and really strong in analytics as well. So for career-wise, we have a high level openness, and they are creative thinking. They have a flexible attitude, so they are very good in advertisement area. Research, because you need a lot of creative idea to think of why this works and why this don't work. And also you look at artistic occupations, whether you are manicure, pedicure, artist. So if people who have low openness, their career normally are those very routines and do not require creative work. So you can have the operator, machine operator, cashier, and also a hawker center cooking, which is all very routine. So people who have low openness, these are some of the jobs that you can look into. Next, conscientious. So people who are conscientious, high conscientious, they are also quite disciplined. They are given to finish their work, they will continue with their work until they finish. They are very efficient. Most of them are very well organized. They like to have details, very accurate details, many informations. They have a strong sense of duty, responsibility. And for those who have really high C, they are also deemed as workaholic. So let's look at the low C. What do they have? They are very spontaneous. They are disorganized. So it means that they maybe do it halfway, then after they do something else. So not continuity. They prefer flexible plans. They dislike precise detail. They like to do things in their own way, not really following step by step. So if we look at the graph here, people who are medium C, you can see they are very self-disciplined. They are very cautious of what they are doing. And if you are high C, you are achievement type, you are the orderly type, and you are the self-efficiency type. And these are very strong people. Similarly, if we talk about the DISC profiling, there's also a C over there, conscientious, and they actually have similarity to this C as well. Let us look at the characteristic and the career of C. So for C, is a person who like to control, regulate, and direct their impulsiveness. They like to organize, they like to plan, they formulate their long-term goal, and they work consistently to achieve it. Normally, people perceive them as a responsible and reliable person. Individual who score a high C can be also compulsive, perfectionist, and workaholic. So it's important that if you know that you are this C type, try to work to the limit that you can. Don't overdo it. Don't spend too much time to do a certain task. If it's completed, don't perfect it until you spend too much time to it. So let us look at people who have a high C career. So for high C career, is that because of your achievement orientated, you are organized, you are very persevere in what you want to achieve. So normally their job performance across these different occupations are very good. So this C person actually do well in their own career and can bring higher performance. Extroversion. Those who have high extroversion are very outgoing, very friendly, and like working with others. And sometimes they are very assertive, therefore they like to take the leadership role as well, because they lead in the communications. For those who are low in the E, they are reserved. They kind of take back. They don't like to tell people what is in their mind. They sometimes look very formal, serious, and most of the time they are quite quiet. And they like to work alone and avoid direct leadership role. So looking at the graph here, people who have low extroversion, friendliness for medium, they are cheerful, and for those that are very high, they are excitement seeking, they're assertive. Looking at the right chart, you can see that high score means they are very energetic, assertive. They are very cheerful, outgoing, and sociable. They like to control of situation. They like to lead others. Let's look at some of the characteristics of this E type. So for E type, they like to engage with external world. They strive for achievements, for excitement, and are very enthusiastic, very high energy people. They are very action orientated as well. Sometimes they like to be the center of attractions. Those who have less E, their energy is lesser. They are less involved in social activity. They tend to be very quiet and keep things to themselves. So for career-wise, how do we see the career for those high E people? High E people like to interact with others. So jobs that is related to public relations, teaching, and sales, marketing is good for them. So if jobs that are focused on working independence and alone, these are suited for more low E people like programmers. Agreeable. Agreeable is another trail in your oceans, and this is the second last trail. So whoever have this high score for A, they are very compassionate, very kind-hearted. They are very good nature. They prefer cooperating with people. For people who have low score for the A, they are very hard-headed. They are very skeptical. They are very competitive and proud. They prefer competitions with people over cooperation with them. So seems like those very high achiever type. So looking at this diagram image over here, these are the traits that they have. If they have the agreeable, they be cooperative. They are gain trust. They like morality. They are modesty, and they are very sympathetic with people around them. So what is the characteristic of agreeable? So if you are agreeable, you prefer social harmony, and you are willing to put aside your interest for the people. So people come first, people orientated. You are very helpful, you are very friendly and considerate, and very generous. For your career-wise, you are agreeable, means that you are good in building teams and maintaining harmony. So it's a fact that you are more likable to people. However, sometimes agreeable is not that good. You might not need to be so friendly when you are at different appointment and role in your company. And people who score low on this agreeable make excellent scientists, critics, and even soldiers, where it's important for soldiers to agree to issue. Neurotism. People who have high score for neuroticism, they experience negative emotions, reactions, and feeling of anxiety most of the time. They are prone to worry, and they are very easily upset because of that. For people who are less neuroticism, they are not easily upset and not stressful. They are very relaxed and calm, and they are also very resilient to any changes. So these are some high end. So if you are high end, you should be feeling anxiety, and after which you will have some self-conscientious, after which you will feel that if you cannot control, you will be depressed, you'll be vulnerable to situation and environments. So what are the characteristics of these N people? Feeling threatened, and because of that you'll be in bad mood in a normal situation, and then you are hard to think clearly and carefully and coping with your stress, and that will lead you to depression. So it's not really good to have high end for this case. We are trying to see and build people who have low end resistance and not being stressed by situation. So people who have high end, their career, they are more control over their emotions at most of the time. If you have a high end, you are more emotional instability, and that means you will be easily distracted from your work, and because of this deadline and personal situation, when your personal family issues or people bring pressure to you and you break down easily. So for career, it's very hard for you to choose any career because most of the career will have deadlines and pressure being given to you. So it really depends on individual to overcome their high end and make sure they are able to adapt to the situation and cope with the stress. So for openness, they are the imaginative people. They use their creative to solve problems. They are open to new and different ideas. So for people who have C, they formulate goals. They are very well organized. They plan their routes to achieve their goals. For extroversion, they are good in their leadership. They lead people. They are very high energy people, enthusiastic. They are very task orientated to make sure there are things to be done. So they are very assertive. And for agreeable people, they are very sympathetic of people. They trust people that people will do well. They like to collaborate with people. For neuroticism, they are easily angry, having their anxiety nervous, and because of not able to finish their deadline, personal issue, they could be easily depressed. So these are the trails of the ocean type of personality. So what is your trail? Which one is your main domain? Whether it's a O, C, E, A, and N. Which one falls into your high area? Thank you very much for listening to my lessons. Bye.